Welcome to Customer Touchpoint Design as we focus on customer-centric innovation. I'm Nance Rosen, here to lead you through some pivotal thoughts on how companies are approaching moments of truth, those touch points that transform the customer experience. This presentation is not meant to make you an expert in innovation. You won't master the concepts presented. The presentation is simply meant to familiarize you with the role of invention in CRM and see how innovation creates exceptional moments of truth. In a twist on the Pareto principle, we see that 80% of innovations are focused on improving current products and services. Only 20% of innovation are those truly new, never seen before, disruptive inventions like the iPod or the iPhone were when they were launched. Anthony Ulwick, the author of What Customers Want, makes the point that today, continuous process improvement is the way we mostly innovate products and services. This is similar to the rather unglamorous way an industrial engineer logically and methodically improves manufacturing processes over time to get greater performance at lower costs. Successful innovation demands the ability to see and interpret feedback. Your feedback mechanism may come from customers. You look at the number of return visits, referrals, or even defections. Feedback may come from listening in on social network comments. It might come from financial analysts discussing what's new and exciting in your industry. If your offering isn't what's new, well, that makes it old. Even then, it's unlikely that you'd recommend throwing away your company's solution's current platform, distribution channels, operating systems, or locations. A CRM manager may be a force for reasonable change, to do a stellar job at critical moments of truth. Today, you'll get insight into the terminology, process, rationale, and benefits of innovation, and you'll see some great examples. You'll be introduced to thought leaders including Anthony Ulwick, Scott Birkin, Jonathan Kagan, Dr. Henry Chesbrough, and Doblin's Larry Keeley, who originated the concept of 10 types of innovation. Let's start out asking, what is the best definition of innovation? The author of Mindfire, Scott Birkin, has a useful one. He defines innovation as a significant positive change. He goes on to ponder, what does significant mean? He cites the invention of the light bulb, constitutional governments, wireless radio, and web browsers. He goes on to say, perhaps you could say significant innovation means at least a 30% improvement, like a 30% increase in the speed of an engine or the power of a battery. If you know the history of your industry, you know the big positive changes people made over the last 50 years. But most of us don't have that history, especially when we take a new job. Thus, it's critical to do some research before you can contribute to innovation in a meaningful way. Let's consider the process of innovation. Where does it start? The demand or opportunity to create new and better customer experiences and more compelling products and service is often revealed by customer feedback, which is often negative. Or you might see a competitor leapfrog ahead of your organization and draw your customers away. These drive reactive innovation. Sony and General Motors seem to be reactive. Of course, there are proactive innovators, companies with a culture that is organized to be the best in class or the perennial new kid on the block. The Ritz-Carlton and Disneyland are standard setters. Apple and now Hyundai are trend setters. Be sensitive to your company's culture and process. No matter what prompts innovation, every company that successfully innovates has a process for it. That doesn't mean that every company has a research and development department producing everything it needs or markets. Does a hotel company need to invent better beds? Does a children's hospital chain need to invent a residence for parents and families to stay nearby? Does a supermarket have to go into the restaurant business if it's clear that customers would like to have a bite to eat while doing the weekly shopping? No. Your company may outsource most of the systems and goods that result in exceptional customer experiences. The radically different Tesco Extra hypermarket that opened in August 2013 is a good example. It has acquired companies and partnered with others to create the shopping, dining, and social experience it's offering at its Watford location. Dr. Henry Chesbrough has been the champion of this approach called Open Innovation. Open innovation is the use of knowledge from inside or outside the company to accelerate innovation. He notes, with knowledge now widely distributed, companies cannot rely entirely on their own research, but should acquire inventions or intellectual property from other companies when it advances the business model. For Tesco's radical innovation of its Extra brand, Tesco bought Giraffe, the renowned restaurant company, in order to provide elegant food service as part of the experience at Watford. Tesco provided space for the fashion retailer F&F to establish a new concept store within the supermarket. And Tesco invited a very high-end coffee and pastry provider, Harrison Houle, to set up a cafe. Watford has space for crafts, yoga, and all kinds of activities. These acquisitions and carefully chosen partners provide proven, well-executed additions to Tesco's core competencies. The result is multiple and extraordinary moments of truth for customers at the location. The Mall of America is another great example of how to access new vendors and purveyors of attractions to provide amazing, best-in-class, and trend-setting customer experiences. Mall of America never stops innovating in its quest to be the most consumer-centric mega shopping center on the planet. At its Minnesota location, you'll find a gigantic aquarium, roller coaster rides, television programs like the Food Network shows, and of course, a huge Legoland, along with conventional mall offerings like Nordstrom's department store. The goal is to make the customer feel that he or she is at the center of the action. The Mall of America watches trends, taking out attractions and stores that decline in popularity, and bringing in the latest ones to increase customer engagement. Most recently, we see Doblin's 10 types of innovation being used as a guide to the 10 ways we can innovate in a meaningful and profitable way. The first type is making innovations in the business model, changing the way you make money. An example, and a radical one, is IBM. At one time, IBM sold personal computers. In 2005, it sold that business to Lenovo. Now, IBM is an information technology company. It's the world's largest consulting organization, serving clients in 160 countries. This was a reactive innovation, as IBM saw PC competitors leapfrogging ahead of it. The second type of innovation is changing how you network or leverage your value chain and partners. For example, Tesco and the Mall of America rely heavily on its suppliers and partners to reinvigorate their offerings. That improves the customer experience, sets it ahead of competitors, and increases its revenues. Type 3 is enabling processes. How can you help customers get more out of each interaction? When Tesco added eye exams and an optician in the market, customers can get more done at the location. Innovation Type 4 involves the core process. What would you add to your patents or intellectual property? Lego continually innovates with new pieces and new games to increase customer engagement. By the way, there's a Legoland in Mall of America where lots of mall visitors accidentally pocket a Lego or two. Type 5 is the last innovation involving business configuration. Type 5 is improving product performance through features and functions. Stores that added self-service checkouts improve the experience for customers who want to scan and bag their own groceries and avoid waiting in lines. Innovation Type 6 involves the product system. This includes offering upgrades and add-ons to make it easier for customers to do more. Consider an upgrade that Mall of America visitors might appreciate. The mall has its own zip code and is getting a $2 billion expansion. So, a system upgrade might include an app to help consumers navigate around the property. When Starbucks launched its powdered instant coffee in tubes to make it home or at work 1 cup at a time, Starbucks customers could have greater engagement with the brand. Innovation Type 7 involves service, improving the way customers are handled. Tesco crew carry big yellow signs so people can easily spot them and ask for help. At In-N-Out Hamburger, a fresher fast food chain in the U.S., crew members walk up to cars waiting in the drive-thru lane with mobile ordering machines. Customers get a face-to-face experience rather than yell orders into a box. Innovation Type 8 involves innovating your channels or distribution. That means providing more ways for consumers to purchase or experience your products and services. Amazon.com is famous for being the world's largest book retailer. But lots of other manufacturers sell through Amazon: baby clothes, electronics, movies, and even groceries. Amazon also radically changed how we consume books. Now we buy ebooks downloaded to an electronic device. Innovation Type 9 is the customer experience, creating a special, perhaps customized or tailored way to interact with your product, service, or brand. For example, in its $2 billion overhaul, Mall of America is pulling out its fast food court and installing an upscale food emporium. That fundamentally changes the entire experience, since eating is one of the top 3 reasons people visit a mall. And finally, Innovation Type 10 involves the brand, changing or amplifying the message associated with your offering. Hiring a new brand spokesperson is often a simple way to do that. For example, Pepsi just paid Beyoncé $50 million to be its brand spokesperson. David Beckham is a spokesperson for Burger King and several other brands. A spokesperson lends his or her personal reputation, his or her personal brand to the products or services being represented. Celebrities, athletes, scientists, and even politicians can imbue or embody the message you want associated with your brand and act as a brand ambassador. How do inventions that impact a moment of truth, a touchpoint that makes a difference in the customer experience, pay off? An invention literally pays off if the invention, however modest, increases your relevance and value above your competitors. In this simple diagram, you see 5 competitors offering 5 levels of experience or value and relevance to the consumer. The lowest competitor is a bare-bones commodity alternative. You might think of a modest local convenience store with some packaged goods for sale. At the top of relevance and value, you might think of Tesco Extra with fresh food, bakeries, coffee house, a fashionable apparel store, and more. In terms of modeling pricing, the reference value is what customers will pay for the alternative directly below Tesco. The increased economic value is the sum of the increased revenue or decreased costs of the innovations proposed. The EVE, or Economic Value Estimator, is a rough way to see how much more your new offering is worth to consumers. That equation would be IEV divided by RV. The resulting number may be used as a multiplier for estimating how much more you could charge above your current price with your innovations in place. Being able to invent may be the single greatest indicator of your value as an employee or business owner. Without a modest inclination to invent, you may never feel empowered at work. You may never satisfy your ambition to lead, to make a difference, or simply enjoy security in your employment. While this discussion by no means created expertise in innovation, I hope it sparked a desire to contribute to your company's moments of truth with a new perspective.